Welcome to a broadcast of the recent Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Wednesday morning at the Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings and you are invited to attend. Agendas are posted prior to the meeting at www.loraincounty.us. Click on Departments to see the Commissioners page, then click on View Agenda.
Good morning. Could we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. Welcome to the March 12th, 2014 Lorain County Board of Commissioners meeting. Commissioner Williams has our dog today.
Really bad.
We have a good little guy here, 2 years old, from Lakeview Park area in Lorain. He's a lab chow mix. It's available for adoption today. And if you could, come out and pick up this guy. He'll make a great pet, great family member, and he's looking at it going to a good home. So, and he's got a lot of energy too. So.
Madam Clerk.
Today at 9:45, we'll have our public hearing on CDBG CHIP FY14. Under Resolutions Number 1, Job and Family Services Bills.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Investments.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Appropriations.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Transfers.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Advances and repayments.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Requisitions.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Travel.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Bills.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Under the Board of Elections, authorized disposal of 47 tables, 52 folding chairs by sale on gov deals, auction, trade, or in disposal. Equipment was used for over a decade and replaced by newer equipment, and the value is less than $2,500 in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code 307.12.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Under the Commissioners, authorize various personnel actions as indicated on the summary sheet for employees within jurisdiction of Lorain County Commissioners.
Mr. Cordez?
Thank you, Commissioner Kalo. Let me just take a look at the sheet here for a second. I do have a couple potential hires, one at Children and Family Council, one at Golden Acres. I'd like to talk to the board on those. Also, we're starting contract negotiations with the United Steelworkers of America and our 911 employees today. So I want to brief you a little bit on that and have a chat on our positioning with respect to those negotiations, and also potential sale and purchase of real estate. Those three topics are allowable under the Sunshine Law for executive session discussion. So I'd ask at the conclusion of our regular board meeting today, we go into executive session and we talk about those items that I've outlined. Thank you.
Approve and waive the reading of the minutes of March 5th.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Authorize payment of $1,000 to Boyer and Cool Home for Funerals, Lorain, for indigent veteran Lewis Wayne Larson in Lorain in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code 5901.25.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Under Community Development, award CT Consultants Mentor a contract to provide professional services for pre-application work in preparation for Lorain County's fiscal 2014 CDBG grant application in the amount of $5,000 to be paid from the planning account.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Under the engineer, approve and enter an LPA agreement with ODOT to replace Pitts Road Bridge and is being paid for by federal funding assistance from NOACA. Authorize engineer to execute on behalf of the board with prosecutors' approval as to form.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Approve and enter an LPA agreement with ODOT for guardrail upgrades Phase 6 and is being paid by federal funding assistance from NOACA. Authorize engineer to execute on behalf of the board with prosecutors' approval as to form.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Award contract to Shelley Company Twinsburg in the amount of $4,217,516.74 for State Route 57 reconstruction project, Village of Grafton. 8 bids were received on February 27th, this being the most responsive, complying with specifications, and work is to be completed by November 15th. There are no substitutions, but we'll use A&A Safety, Bromhill Engineering, Buckeye Excavating, CJ Zack Company, Smith Paving and Excavating, TGC Engineer, Traftech Inc., Van Kuren Services, and Welfie Inc. as subcontractors. Funding for this project is 80% federal, 20% OPWC, and Village of Grafton funds.
I see we have a contingency from Grafton. Anyone like to make any comments before we make a motion on this? Okay, so moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Approve and enter in a subdividers agreement with Ronald Palmer for Mallard's Edge Subdivision 2, Eaton Township. Engineers estimated construction is $132,266.89, and certificate of liability with Siebert Keck Insurance Agency, Akron, for McConnell Excavating Limited, Overland.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Award contract to Dennis Concrete Wellington in the amount of $701,978.50 for North Ridge Road roadway relocation project, Brunhill Township. 4 bids were received on February 27th, this being the most responsive, complying with specifications, and funding for project will be provided by OPWC, grant in the amount of $543,634, and loan in the amount of $178,000. Work to be completed by October 31st, and will use McKinley Drilling Company for drilling, Cuyahoga Fence for guardrail, and PSI for traffic control. Portion is subcontractors.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Under the Sheriff, amend Resolution 13128 adopted February 27, 2013, approving and entering a contract with New Russia Township for additional police protection effective retroactive January 1st, 2013 through December 31st, 2015. Amendment is to reflect the addition of number 9, designated deputy to provide said policing shall be an employee of the Sheriff's Office, and Sheriff's Office shall be responsible for acts and or omissions of designated deputy while performing said policing, effective retroactive to February 18, 2013.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Cortez?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I don't particularly have any further comments this morning, so I'll yield to council.
Mr. Ennis?
Commissioners, I have a couple of items. First of all, as you know, we have a couple of contracts out there where the sheriff contracts with the township for additional deputy patrol. We have one with New Russia Township, and there's a paragraph that we have added to newer ones that was not in the agreement that we had with them, so we would like to amend that agreement.
We just did that, didn't we?
We just did the
Yeah.
amendment with number 19,
Oh, you did?
Jerry.
Yeah.
Okay, I was looking at this, not paying attention.
You were not listening to what we were doing, were you?
I didn't see it there. It's worse, I reviewed the agenda yesterday and I didn't see it, so never
I'm
mind.
glad you agreed with us to approve it.
Dan would say, never mind.
Because I was going to bring it up in these two. Go ahead, but
I
not,
do
I
need-
did.
Huh? Yeah, I'm going to ask for an executive session regarding imminent litigation.
Okay.
Welcome to Saturday Night Live.
Commissioners report.
Let's see. Last Thursday, evening. I sat in for your annual health district meeting, and it was mostly election of officers, not a whole lot of issues, nothing crazy. We do get rent from the health department, do we not, over at Murray Ridge?
Do we not is correct.
We don't?
The relationship is established in the Ohio Revised Code with responsibility for housing a county health department. While the law has been reviewed many times over the last decade, it did not end in them having to pay rent. However, when the TB clinic was dissolved and we had the space there, we were able to successfully negotiate additional space for them, and they are paying for that space.
Okay, because that's what I was going to ask you. When they moved out, WIC moved in. I was wondering if we got additional money for that.
And I think what they do is they have programming that they're allowed to pay, rent from. So that's why we went through a little bit of legal gyration to make sure everything was good for them to do that. As you know, the building was vacant for a little while, and we reached a very successful relationship on that. And the health department has been a good partner with regard to helping us with certain maintenance issues on occasion. So, but right now that we're not allowed to charge the rent.
Okay. All right. And then Friday, I want to thank you for meeting with Tom Kelly, Lisa Hobart, and myself regarding the reverse 911 emergency notification system. And hopefully we'll be talking about that more extensively in the next couple of weeks when we get some figures and facts together and some numbers. And then yesterday we had the Democrat Women's Touring Dinner, and they had it over at the coffee shop at Charleston on Broadway, and they're trying to get people downtown. So it was a really nice event. Did you have any of my taco soup in there?
No, I didn't get to it, Commissioner.
Okay, well, all right, well, that's the end of my report.
Yeah, busy week, but the only official meeting I attended was, thank you for covering Thursday night for me. I had a prior commitment. But Solid Waste Policy Committee met yesterday morning. We just got a quorum. Howard Aiken showed up about 20 after 9, so I'm glad we got to move forward on that. Doing well with the new contracts we've approved up here the past month. We're saving dollars with trash going down. The district collections are slightly down, but it's moving forward. Presented again on the organics, talked about Kurtz Brothers and or Barnes establishing an organics composting for the county. We're going to move next month. We're not even going to have our meeting. We're going to actually do a road show to look at the processes they're presenting. We had no report from Republic this month because Eric Van Houten is no longer with the company as of last week.
Who is
So
that?
Eric Van Houten?
Oh.
No, Van Houten. So we'll look forward to getting an update from them. But end of my report.
Yeah, those are complete. But one thing I wanted to bring up was I was at an event, and Lupus Awareness Fundraiser, Cleveland Indians game on Saturday, May 17th is versus Oakland, and it's also the fireworks night. I'll give this to Hal so he can put it on there, but if you'd like to participate in the fundraiser, it's going to be up in the party room. Filled box tickets, and $75, includes food. And if you could give Kim a call at 440-506-3674. I'm sorry, 3764. And then there's a fundraiser coming up this Saturday. It's a steak fry for the Ohio truck team. This is for Ford. It's at the UAW Local 2192. It's the former 425 Hall on Baumhart Road. It's going to be 4 o'clock to midnight. Donations are $20 each. Should be a good time, so if you could come out and support these men and women, would appreciate that. Multiple events throughout the county. It just seems to be going on every night anymore. And just want to thank the workshop players for inviting me and actually bringing me into the skit for the murder mystery dinner that was held at Corks in Amherst. A great time. And yeah, a couple people thought I did it, but I wasn't the guy, so I did enjoy it. And then the Rochester Gun and Rod Sports Club had their Wild Game Dinner. It's an annual event. If you haven't been to it, try to get tickets for next year. One of the best events out there in Rochester, and just a great group of guys. And thank my uncle for going out there and representing me on Saturday night, as I had a conflict with another other meetings going on. And I just want to say, give my condolences to a good friend of mine. His father passed away, Mr. Justin McKenzie. He's a friend, graduated high school. He went into the military, left, and then came back to visit his father this past weekend, and unfortunately his father passed in his sleep. So condolences to the McKenzie family, and prayers are with you, Justin. End of my report.
Madam Clerk, it's 9:45. Can we go into the public meeting and then we'll finish up with public
can.
comment?
Well, clerk's report and board correspondence, and then public comment. Today's public hearing on CDBG CHIP FY14 public hearing. Linda?
Good morning. Because of all the changes with the CDBG CHIP applications, we've asked Phyllis Dunlap from CT Consultants to speak today at the public hearing.
You're off the hook, Linda.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I apologize, I'm going to read some of this because there are so many changes. I don't want to miss anything. So, you know, if you have a question, you want to stop me, just holler at me, okay? Lorain County is eligible to apply for funds under the fiscal year 2014 Community Development Block Grant Small Cities Program, federally funded program, as well as other related programs administered by the State of Ohio Development Services Agency. Lorain County may apply for FY 2014 funding under the Small Cities Community Development Allocation Program, which now includes a competitive neighborhood revitalization grant, a downtown revitalization grant, and a critical infrastructure program grant. Water and sewer, economic development, discretionary, imminent threat, and the community housing impact and preservation program. Lorain County is eligible for approximately $400,000 of the fiscal year 2014 community housing impact and preservation program, and approximately $300,000 of the fiscal year community development program allocation, and $300,000 is available for each of the competitive programs through the Community Development Allocation competitive programs. This is the first of two public hearings to provide citizens with pertinent information about the CDBG program. The Community Housing Impact Preservation Program, which was the Community Housing Improvement Program, can be funded through HOME, Ohio Trust Funds, and CDBG funds. The CHIP program can provide home repair, private owner rehab, rental rehab, which is a new activity, home ownership, new construction habitat, and tenant-based rental assistance. The CDBG program, which is the allocation program, can fund a broad range of activities, including economic development projects, street, water supply, drainage, sanitary sewer, park acquisition and improvements, demolition of unsafe structure, residential and commercial, rehabilitation of housing, it's limited to home repair, however, and neighborhood facilities. The activities must be designed to benefit low and moderate income persons, aid in the prevention or elimination of slum and blight, or meet an urgent need. Significant changes to the 2014 CHIP program. Of course, the name has changed. It's no longer the Community Housing Improvement Program, but the Community Housing Impact and Preservation Program. Home repair rental has been added to the program. This program is funded through CDBG, so it's more flexible than the rental rehab program that is existing. Should the community want to apply for those funds, we would have to create a program design to be submitted with the application. Emergency monthly housing has been eliminated from the program. I know Lots of people really like that program, but it's been eliminated for this time. All supportive activities, standalone, like homebuyer education, financial education that are standalone, those are eliminated as well. The grant ceilings have changed. Counties remain at 400,000. Cities with a population of 15,000 or more can apply for 350,000. Cities with a population of less than 15,000 can apply for 300,000. Communities are being encouraged to partner with other CHIP communities. The incentive for partnering is that each of the partnering communities would be eligible to bump their grant ceiling $50,000. Should the communities decide to partner, one would be designated the grantee. So, in other words, if two communities decide to partner, one will be the grantee and the grant will be in the grantee's name. Okay? The grantee will apply and be responsible for the grant. The maximum grant request for a partnership is $1.6 million. Due to the cap, a community partnership would not want the funds of each partnering community eligible to exceed that cap. So you wouldn't want 5 communities to partner because you'd be over the 1.6, you'd be giving up money. Okay? If the county were to partner, they would be eligible for $450,000 instead of the $400,000. The partnering city that you're partnering with, likewise, instead of being $350,000, would be $400,000. Okay? So that would give you a grant request of $850,000. Should the county partner with 3 cities at $400,000 each, the total would be 1.6, but the ceiling is 1,650,000. But the ceiling would be 1.6. You'd give up 50,000. Okay. Considerations with the partnering. Obviously, each community gains $50,000. Okay. The county or the city acting as the grantee will be the entity evaluated for past performance. Therefore, it would be to the advantage of partnering communities to have the entity with the best performance be the grantee. The Lorain County has a clean slate entering this application cycle, so that is not an issue for Lorain County. The rating criteria has changed. 5 points have been eliminated from the past performance category and have been added to the impact category. 2 new subcategories have been created in that impact scoring, and they are partnership development and collaboration. So obviously, if you partner, you're going to gain extra points. I tried to find out what the extra points are. They're not talking. We don't know if it's 1 point or 6 points. We have no idea. Should the communities choose to partner again, one will be the grantee. The grantee would be awarded the full amount of the funds applied for. The partnership agreement will need to be entered into identifying the funds to be spent in each community, because they're going to be a target area. Do you know what I'm saying? They're not the grantee, so you have to have some type of an agreement with that community as to what's going to be spent in their community. The grantee will be responsible for the planning process, the HAC committee process, the filing of the application, the entering into the contract with the state, the environmental review, the draw requests, the status reports, the final performance report, financial management, and the grant closeout, including the program income. Therefore, it would make sense that during that partnership agreement stage that you would want to discuss the grantee receiving a little bit more of the admin, since you're going to be responsible for additional items for both partners. The grantee will be doing the planning process and therefore will be responsible for identifying the needs of both partners in their process and approving that through the application process. The grantee can enter into an administrative contract with the partner to administer their funds. However, it's not the same as a subrecipient agreement. It's similar to the agreements that you have with your formula program, where they can administer, but they can't pay out the contracts unless they pay and get reimbursed through you. Let's see. The grantee, as it's your grant, is going to be held for past performance on the partnership application. Therefore, you're responsible, if you were the grantee, you would be responsible for meeting all the goals of both communities, okay? So it would be my recommendation that during that partnership negotiation that you negotiate where the line is. If you have more money than you can spend, maybe you can move it to that community, or vice versa, if the goals aren't being met in the partnership target area, that some of that could be moved somewhere else, because you're going to be the one who's held to those goals. And that should be talked about ahead of time and put in the partnership agreement, I would feel, so that you don't get to the end and you're having a disagreement with the partner as to when that occurs. The grantee is also going to be responsible for monitoring and any audit requirements, so that's a consideration as well. Additionally, all these other new things, there's a new online application process. The applications are going to be filed online. And as part of that process, the county will have to obtain access codes, and as part of that, you will have to designate who's getting access to what part of the application and what approvals, et cetera, and those are going to have to be signed and notarized and submitted to state prior to the deadline so that you can file your application. So you should be aware that that's coming too. Any questions?
A lot of work.
Yeah.
Well, a couple things.
Yes.
I had a conversation with Don Romancak yesterday, and we are going to reach out for a partner. I want to access those extra funds. Commissioners, this would be very similar to what we did with the NSP funds, with the different entities. I think the community development has a proven record of being able to coordinate those things successfully. In fact, that one was coordinated outside the county all the way over to Norwalk. This will bring, hopefully, additional monies into our community. We may have to stretch ourselves out on the admin. There's not a lot of admin there, and there could be possibly a lot of work doing that, but that's what we do. And, off the four corners of this county is our community. And so we're looking at maybe Sheffield Lake. Don, you want to talk about a couple potentials that we could partner up with? In fact, we're going to be...
I have a question, Jim, to interrupt you. Is Sheffield Lake a large enough municipality to partner with for the additional money?
They're eligible for CHIP funds.
Yes.
Yeah, for CHIP funds, but for the additional 50,000 for both communities?
Yes.
Because
They
of
would
the
be
population.
eligible. If they partnered with you, they would be able to bump their grant ceiling 50,000, as would you.
Okay, I thought you said it had to be 15,000 people, population of 15,000. You stated in your,
There's a line.
come up to the
If it's
microphone.
15,000, their grant ceiling. Oh, I'm sorry. If your population is $15,000 or less, your grant ceiling's at 300,000.
Okay.
If it's 15,000 or more, it's 350,000. If you're a county, it's 400. The partnering allows you to bump your grant ceiling by 50,000. So
Okay,
if they were to
regardless of the size of the municipality or entity you're partnering with.
right.
Okay.
So if they were, I'm sorry, I don't know what their population is, but let's
It's
say
not
they were.
15,000, so
No, it's
that's...
not.
Okay, so they would be at the 300,000, they would be able to bump theirs to 350, and you would
Okay.
be able to bump yours to
All right, I
450.
didn't quite understand that when you're giving the report, but maybe because it's just so long and drawn out.
I know, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry, Jim.
That's all right, Don. We had a conversation yesterday. I'm really excited about being able to form a partnership. Hopefully we'll be successful and bringing more money back to this community. You heard me rant and rave many times in here about receiving federal funds and us being a donor county. So, but actually these funds will pass through the state with this program too,
Yeah.
right?
They'll come from the state to us, and then, assuming we're successful, and then we would actually be doing, with the partners, we would be actually identifying the projects. All the contracts for award would have to come through this board. We would be awarding and dispersing the funds upon performance. Very similar to NSP1, where, and in a little bit like NSP3, where we had to keep moving budgets to do our very best to perform on that grant as well. So there will be a little bit of extra work for everyone involved, but at the end of the day, it would provide us an opportunity to get more done. And on the CHIP program, it is, our housing stock definitely needs it, and this is an opportunity for us to continue to reinvest in saving some of our housing stock as well, and maintaining what we have as we continue to weed out those that just can no longer stand.
Well, and also, while they've changed the name and a few of the directions of the grant, decreasing the past performance is a benefit to us. As you know, we were penalized by the state because of issues with regard to getting multiple quotes on work. We were having a problem getting vendors to go out to the job sites and give us the multiple quotes. And while we tried to correct all that, the state just wouldn't give us a pass on it, and they penalized us on our application the last time.
Yes.
So having less on past performance and more on impact should help our community receive a total allocation of funds, I believe.
Wonderful.
Anything else I can help you with?
Nope, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Huh? Close the public meeting first before public comment, correct?
No public
Public
comment
comment
for
Okay.
them.
Anyone looking to comment on the presentation? I'll make a motion to close the public meeting.
Second?
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Madam Clerk,
I don't know if we need a,
board correspondence?
Do we need a motion?
do we need
to
a resolution for that, Linda, today? No? Okay. All right.
After the second public hearing, I think is the resolution, correct?
This is the only one that's scheduled, so no, I don't have another one.
Okay.
March 18th at 9:30, the Commissioners will meet, which is next Tuesday, for the Straw Hag Ditch hearing, and then we'll have another meeting on the Wednesday, the 19th. Board correspondence?
Move the reading be waived.
Second?
Discussion. Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Public comment?
Mr. Bailey, I see you joining us today.
He brought somebody's carrying a gun. See, what's going
Yeah.
on?
You got to bring a gun with you, you know.
He's got his own posse now.
Bodyguard. They're chasing all those truckers without stickers.
We're the hosts this year of one of the Keep a High Beautiful environmental law enforcement workshops. It's going to be held at our transportation center on the 21st of this month from 9 to 3. This particular event is for training of law enforcement officers, sanitarians, solid waste management people, environmental managers, environmental crime people like Bill, who ends up teaching most of the course, all right? So I got tired of Keep a High Beautiful borrowing my deputies, and I said, you have to do something in Lorain County. We already have 111 people registered.
Oh, wow.
So this is a big deal, all right? Actually, the lawyers can get CLEs, which is unique. Sanitarians can get CEUs for attending this, and gives them education on environmental crimes, dangers of environmental crime scenes, meth lab training, hazardous material handling, and how local environmental coalitions and community policing can help. So Bill has discovered a few things in the time we've been in this environmental crime program, and I'd like for him to share just a couple things we've found out about our dumpers.
Morning.
We're finding out that a lot of our dumpers are also involved in the drug trade. Our tire dumpers, it's an easy way for them to make a quick buck. They go to these tire stores, which is illegal for the tire stores to do. They pay them to haul the tires away. Of course, they're either going to take them to the county tire trailer, which is illegal, or they're going to take them out on some farm or some abandoned home and dump them. It makes quick money for them to go buy their drugs, and they continue to do it. We've put a few of them in prison for doing that. We've caught them. One just lately we had probably dumped about 3,500 tires on a lot in South Lorain. And we took care of that, prosecuted him. He fled the state to Puerto Rico. At some point in time, he came back to Lorain County and was picked up in Lorain, and he's now in the prison system. And he'll be going to Florida when we're done with him, because they want him back down there. Most of the people we deal with are career criminals. They do the dumping because they don't care. It basically is what it comes down to. A lot of the homes that are being tore down by you folks now they're finding stuff dumped in those, tires, whatever. The scrappers that are stealing the copper and stuff, well, all that plastic coating, they're dumping that. If you go along the Black River, I can take you down to spots where there's piles of that stuff, piles of tires, piles of the plastic strip from the wires. So it continues, and with the heroin trade up, it's getting worse. So
Got a big job to do.
Oh, yeah, it's keeps me busy.
Yeah.
Remember, it's the 21st at the Transportation Center, 9 to 3, all right?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mr. Cortez, when I was at the coffee shop, we were in that other bigger room for that touring dinner, and I was sitting with Mr. D'Attilio, and we were talking about how echoey it is because they had the high ceilings, and we started talking about the transportation center. We had the acoustic issue going on there. Weren't we supposed to have somebody come there to check to see if they could alleviate some of those
Well, I'll check on the
issues?
project, the progress. Yes, and some of that work is being accomplished. We've already baffled the HVAC system, put in some additional, well, actually changed the acoustic panels to something that was recommended to us to be more efficient than the deadening panels that we were using. We've readjusted all of the sound system to try to stop some of the bounce. And the last piece was going to be to install acoustic, I don't want to call them panels, but they're pieces on the ceiling that match.
They kind of hang down in different.
Well, they don't hang down. They would actually be attached to the ceiling, and that would stop some of the bounce. Now, we haven't done that because I have some serious reservations about working with that plaster up there, and we spend quite a bit of time and money rebuilding all of that. We haven't quite done that. I'm waiting to see the effects of the other changes. And I'll look into that where we're at and how much the changes that are currently have taken place have produced a desirable outcome. And once I find that out, I may have additional recommendations for you.
Yeah. Those are soundboards, what they refer to them as, and that is the best way to actually go through and
What do you mean, for the ceiling?
for the ceiling, for
Well,
the walls,
these
everything.
would actually be small tiles that were painted and looked exactly like where they would be pinned in onto the ceiling. Technically, unless you really, really paid attention, you wouldn't know that there was they were up there.
Right.
And you don't need to, we're not going to use whole panels, just enough to deaden some of the reverberation.
With that, though, if we're looking at actually switching that over eventually to a train station, if we can get the platform, we may want to wait before we go through and spend that money in order to make it where it could be used as a conference room if it's actually going to turn into a train station.
Well, that area of the main hall is not going to be used for the train station. That area was once designed and had benches in it for people to sit and wait for trains to come. The lobby area that'll be used for the train platforms, which is currently unused, has already been established with a ticketing counter and a seating area and an area for vending, and there's bathrooms. And that is on the north side closest to the back retaining wall over there. So that's already designed to meet the needs of going up, if we use the tunnels, to go up to platforms. So as far as the bigger room goes, that's why it was changed in the type of room it was, because it was just not a need for that huge of a room with the kind of traffic that was anticipated. Amtrak currently transports about 4,000 people on their service right now. It's been growing, not huge, but it's been growing, and that's on 2 different trains a day stopping here. So you can see the numbers are just not very large. It's anticipated that they'll either use the lobby down in the lower area if we use the tunnels, or if we have to go external. And remember, there's a lot of factors that are outside of our control. If we have to use those, then there'll probably be some kind of conditioned area outside the weather that may be up on the platform, actually, for people waiting on the trains. Because if we have to go from outside, we'll have to do the lifts up and over, and it would make sense to try to tie it in to that lobby area. A lot has to do with Norfolk Southern, what they allow to happen on those rails. And hopefully next week I'll be bringing you the proposal for the engineering firm. We met with Amtrak, and we've gone through with Norfolk Southern. The engineer has been selected. We're waiting and negotiating cost with them right now. Once we nail that down, we're going to bring you the recommendation from the team, and we can start moving that project forward. And if I may have the indulgence of the board, I want to point out one thing. I meant to do it under my business. Once again, I think our own Brad here has been up for an award again for investigative journalism, I believe. And Andy is up for editorial Writer of the Year, and a few other folks at the Chronicle that just escape me right now. And we do like to report really good things in Lorain County, and that speaks volumes to them being up for these awards. They've had previously won awards, and I want to give them a shout out and hope they win again. So congratulations, Brad. Just glad you're not investigating me.
Nothing to investigate, right?
No comment.
While we're talking about the transportation center, we've talked about the straw hag ditch at 9:30, but those people that are interested or curious and want to see what the transportation center looks like inside, you have an opportunity if you want to come at 11 o'clock on March 18th for the transit meeting that we're going to have to talk about our levy. So it's an opportunity for you to see the train station. That's it.
Well done. Anyone else wishing to address the board this morning? I'll make a motion to go in executive session as outlined by the county administrator and county prosecutor.
I'll second.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
This has been a broadcast of the recent Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Wednesday morning at 9:30 at the Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and you are invited to attend. Agendas are posted prior to the meeting at www.loraincounty.us. Click on Departments to see the Commissioners page, then click on View Agenda for a printable copy of the agenda.